Contemplate the workings of the inner being. Your eyes are wide open, but are you really seeing?
My name is Ty.
My name is Cole.
We are Ty Cole.
This is Mentor in the Mirror podcast. We've got an incredible guest. And if you're tuning in on Facebook, in on the live, you can comment in the section as long as you give StreamYard permission to share your name. So if you pop in, let us know where you're listening from. And we're really excited to bring our amazing guest who I've known almost 10 years at this point, through different periods. So welcome Abel James to Mentor in the Mirror podcast.
Ty Cole, thanks so much for having me. This is I feel like we're about to let loose a little bit.
Oh, we so are.
Let down your hair.
You did. Everyone's hair is down.
Haircuts are illegal,
That's true.
Wait till you see the video that I did today.
We're the rebel. Well, I cut my own hair. He cuts his own hair.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? Check that fade out.
You guys do look great. I mean, it's working out for you guys this lockdown.
Yeah, man.
It does. Well, as you know, being a broke musician, I learned how to do lots of things for myself. Or I wouldn't say I was a broke musician, but being an artist brings different opportunities to express yourself with maybe not as many funds as other times.
Yeah,
so anyway,
too.
Totally. I was living it, experiencing it for sure.
Yeah. We all dip in and out.
Yeah.
Oh, don't wait.
Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the video. Welcome to our audience. And thank you for all that you do. I've been on your email list for about 2 years and been listening to your podcast. Yeah, man. I'm stalking you in the background, bro. I love what you're doing for people. I'm a fan. Could you please tell everybody that's listening what it is who you are and what it is that you do?
Today.
So that they have some background on who they're hearing talk.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe you should do it for me after I do it, because I always answer the question a little bit differently. But for the past 10 years, I've been doing it started with fatburningman.com, a website and blog, and I later turned that into a podcast pretty quickly. So that's been about 10 years that I've been doing that pretty hardcore, writing books, doing interviews on other people's shows. I did a TV show on ABC with our friend Sean T back in 2016. Love Sean. And so most of what I try to coach and talk about is clean eating, and also not, a lot of it is based around mental health. So you can be a health nut without going totally whole hog and losing yourself and going into these different very politicized little identity movements and the rest of it. So I try to focus on clean eating and functional movements, exercising outside, and also a big part of the communities that we share is the ancestral health, paleo, and there are a lot of different names for it, but basically the idea that we should be living more like our ancestors did, or even in fact more like our grandparents did. And so that means getting closer to nature and working with nature instead of against it. So I've had a lot of fun kind of like shifting gears from spending, doing over 300 music shows a year to I'm still obviously playing a lot of music, but I really shifted that passion and the energy to doing this as a calling and as a full-time career with my wife, Alyson, as well. And a small team. We've been doing this for a while and started up a lot of kind of online communities in different forums, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. And, not only have you written books, you've had best-selling books. You've, like Wild Diet I bought as soon as it came out, and so the thing is that I've really appreciated the entire time that I've known you is you are one of the most consistent to your belief systems, your structures, your integrity that I've ever known. And that's saying a lot, having traveled a lot. And especially right now, I feel like this is the most perfect opportunity for the conversation that we are going to dive into, because not only do you understand what it is to research, not only do you understand what it is to pull together information and data and science. And sure, it could have been when you were writing about music. It could have been when it was about health, sustainability, health optimization. At the end of the day, where we are as a country, as a culture, in particular in the United States, is a level of censorship that is hugely problematic. And it didn't just happen, it didn't start because of this current crisis. This has been happening. This is just like a inflated kind of like, the micro to the macro of what's been going on. And for online content creators, I know there was a big meeting in Florida in like October, November, of content creators that have millions of followers who can't reach them anymore because of shadow banning and censorship. So could you kind of kick us off by explaining for people that these are new terminology for them, what shadow banning is?
Sure. And it's kind of a new word for a lot of people, and a very squishy and strange concept. And the reason it is so is because it's hidden from us. You can't really identify when it's happening, and you can't totally prove it. So it always is one of those things where you feel crazy if you're even thinking about it. And it's meant to feel that way. So the way that I see it, having done this social media like kind of online creator thing for about 10 years, is the promise that these social media and online platforms gave us and sold us initially was that if you come on here, we're going to connect the world and we're going to make the world a better place. And of course, it's important to connect with as many people as possible, to have discourse on both sides of the conversation. However, somewhere in like 2016, 2017, 2018, it seemed like the entire internet was hijacked. And all of a sudden, yes, you could, like, that's right when pretty much most of our social media accounts went to around 50,000 followers around then. Some of them were more and some of them were a little bit less. Ever since, it has not gone up. They've all hemorrhaged as more people come. So, for example, I premiered a video to my 55,000 Facebook followers today, and take a guess about how many people watched it when I premiered it live, even though it was, I've been putting out 300 shows pretty much on Fridays weekly for almost 10 years, Take a guess.
If I was going to guess, but that's because I'm very bleak in understanding how it's working right now, I would say like 1,100.
I saw a max of 20 people watching.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go around.
2 of them were me and my wife, except on YouTube for my 50,000 followers. Guess how many saw it there? 3.
Tell me.
Including me and my wife.
Yikes.
And this has been happening for years, far before this crisis. And also, if you type in my name, someone else sold it. Google sold it. Facebook sold it. Instagram sold my name. They sold the title of all my books. They sell the name of my products. Other people buy them so that they can manipulate you. And people don't understand that when you type in something on Google, you have your own Google, and it's driving you towards something based upon all of the data that they've harvested from you, from your children, from your grandparents, from your mother, from your significant others, from your exes, from everywhere you ever went to school, anywhere you ever checked in or didn't check in while you were being surveilled on your phones, and all of the cameras that mysteriously went up at the intersections across the world in all the small towns without us ever voting for it or talking about it. So anyway, as a creator, you can kind of see where some of this stuff is going and why certain people are harder to find. But it's, once again, it's one of those things where it's very difficult to prove and also very isolating at the same time. So here's another example. Rob Wolf, very well, right? And our communities know very well. He's been a friend of mine and a collaborator for many years. And although we did email, I think about like once or twice in the past year, actually, he has a quote in my new book. And so we did get in touch. But I realized when I heard all these other people talking about Rob in the past couple of weeks that he shut down his podcast, that he was shadow banned and totally censored, I had no idea, because I haven't seen anything from Rob, even though I follow him on every channel, for a year or more. I don't even know how long it's been. And so that's how easy it is for you to fall out of touch with people. And I've had dozens or even hundreds of people come up to me in the past 1 to 2 years. They're like, "Are you still doing your podcast?" And I'm like, "You mean the 100 shows that I've been doing every week for the past couple of years?" Yes, this whole time. We didn't disappear. These people have been unsubscribed from us this whole time without actually unsubscribing. So it's very you know, I'm not saying this out of ego. I'm saying if they take away your ability to find people who are speaking truth, and it's not just me, there are many, like pretty much everyone who I follow in music, in financial news, in health, or any other
I
domain.
mean, it's socioeconomics, it's poverty, it's nonprofits.
Yep.
There,
All
yeah,
of them are buried.
yeah,
And for
yeah.
what? What are we learning in the meantime? While we've all been locked down, what have we learned about how to heal our bodies or nutrition or what what we're supposed to do to get out of the depression that we're in? And the mental health crisis and the vice that we're all in, the fact that we don't have rights anymore in a lot of places, and the fact that so much of this is coordinated. That's another very surprising and curious thing to me. When the shadow banning and censorship really started digging in hard, it was completely coordinated across all of the different social media platforms that are supposedly different companies, in the same way that all of these different countries are supposed to be independent and complete. Oh, that one's a democracy, and this one's like communism, and this one's socialism, or something in between. And oh, screw that one. That one's just a mess, and it needs a coup or something. No, no, no. We all kind of did the same thing at the same time, and we're hostile to our own citizens, with the citizens having no say in it whatsoever. And now, with some of the data coming out or not, we're all like, wait a second, what was this for? And the people who have forced us into this position will soon be forced to face the music.
I think that so many people are under the belief that they still have freedom of choice, right? I was talking to a woman and she said, "My freedom's the most important thing." I said, "Well, is your freedom most important, or are you now only aware of the freedoms you didn't have or the freedoms at risk?" Because if you look at the last 20, 30 years at what has shifted, because privacy has shifted, because of the internet, because of social media, the amount, because of 9/11, there has been so many things that have shifted as far as liberties, that what I reflected back to her was, well, for me, our freedom is more like how it is when you're 3 years old and your mom says you can have a popsicle, blue or red.
Yes.
So it's the freedom to choose the options presented. And if we aren't aware of what options are on the table, which, when there's this much chaos and noise going on collectively, I'm watching bills come to the table that have been sitting for a while,
Oh,
all of a sudden rolling through Congress, rolling through senators, rolling through, because everyone's quite busy in this content information war and resigning more liberties every single day.
but are they helping to feed people or give doctors masks? Are we actually
Exactly.
serving our own citizens? Because at some point, all of the politicians who are doing all of these very dubious things that violate the very constitution of our country, no matter what country you're in, there are crimes being committed right now against our own citizens. And
Mhm.
and at some point, we all have to say no, because what I hear on the mainstream media that's broadcast everywhere, while they bury all the little people like us who shouldn't have a say, they should be shut up. Because why? I don't know. No one ever told me. No one ever told me what words I would be censored or shadow banned for saying. I still don't know. I have a pretty good idea based upon what attacks I get when I drop certain ideas and terms. And there are certain companies that if you mention their names, you are going to get attacked in different ways. Some of them physical, some of them just online, but all of them extremely damaging. And so if you take away my ability to reach my own followers, people who have signed up to get information from me and in fact communicate with me, this is my community, right? This was the promise. If you sever that connection without telling either side, what is that exactly? And what if every platform on the internet does that at the same time to anyone who's talking truth in any of these domains? And who gets to decide what's truth and what isn't? So anyone who's attacking those people who are talking about freedom right now, just kind of like reflexively, realize that you are indoctrinated and you're brainwashed to do that, because that's an extremely dangerous position to be in. And if you jump on someone just for talking about freedom and make a ton of assumptions, as is the case on social media right now, where people are just being flamed for saying like, listen, why are we all still locked in our houses? Wasn't this 2 weeks? Wasn't it about flattening the curve? How about the hospitals? How are they doing? Weren't we doing this for that? Let's have a conversation here. Oh, we can't. Also, wow, the bankers, once again, print trillions and trillions of dollars for themselves and their friends. We are unable to protest in person because we're not allowed to be close to each other, even though social distancing has no scientific basis whatsoever. And also, masks are very dubious when you look at viruses, the sizes, the materials of the masks, and how it's all handled. And also, quarantining a healthy population is historically unprecedented. So there are so many things that need to be talked about. We need to be able to ask questions. And at this very time, we're not able to protest. We're not able to spread information to one another. We are 100% reliant on mainstream media, which is manipulated and feeding us misinformation, false information, imaginary numbers over and over again. I'm not just saying this. Anyone knows that this is true. Anyone who practices actual science and works with real data knows that this is true and knows that the politicians are politicizing the word science. They are not practicing anything like science.
I have so much to say in regards to all of that, and we could be here. We could be here.
We might. You said you are clear until tomorrow. At what time?
Night, man. Let's go.
We could be here all night in regards to that, man. And you know, the amount of tomfoolery that's been going on forever in this world is really interesting. But the stuff that I've been observing lately, in regards to viruses, in regards to quarantine, all of this is nonsense to me. In so many different ways. I'm not saying that the virus is not real, but there are so many things that I've seen in my studies, in my participation in dealing with pandemics, epidemics, endemics, all of these things that I've dealt with in nursing over the years.
In New York City,
New York City, of all places, watching SARS, MERS, Ebola, watching H1N1, West Nile, all of these different viruses, man, that have come up. I've seen all of this stuff be mishandled, mismanaged, and I've seen the undercurrent of things going on. I've seen the political shifts. I've seen the political influence on Big Pharma, on the American Medical Association. I've seen all of these things, and people are steadily being hoodwinked and bamboozled, and it's really an interesting situation for me to witness right now as I step back and not consume what's going on, but observe the people that are consuming what's going on. And it's really interesting, man. God, you said so many things that like my head is exploding right now with
Is that what that is coming out of the side of the earlobe?
Yeah, an angel in the corner.
My halo, man.
There it is.
It's half a halo though. I'm half. All right. So that's the reality of things. This is my light side. This is my light side. Is my shadow side, right?
How come I'm the shadow side?
You're in my shadow side. So there it is. So this is what
integrate that pretty soon.
Yeah.
This is what I look like in my shadow, and this is what I look like to everybody. So yeah, man. Gosh, man. The stuff you said about the masks, I'm on board with. The stuff you said.
Can you describe a little bit with masks for people listening from a nurse's perspective of, first of all, when you use masks in a hospital as a nurse,
right.
And just to give people a little bit of context, because they have been getting information from everywhere, and I think your input on that is valuable.
Sure. Viruses are very small, very, 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 very small, and they can get through all kinds of stuff. So it's really hard to keep them from getting into places. Masks are cool for not getting stuff splashed on your face. They're cool for you not breathing in big particles, chemicals, and stuff that will not go through masks. That's when we're talking about the masks that filter out the most of the N95 particulate respirator, which when you have to be sized for. Most people don't know this. You need to be sized for it. There are 3 or 4 different sizes, and you can't have, if you have a beard and you have an N95, forget it. Yep. It's useless. So when we were in a hospital and they would test us with the N95 mask, they would put the mask on. They would make sure that you were clean shaved. They would put the mask on you, and they put this hood over your head, and they sprayed saccharin into the hood and told you to breathe in. And if you could taste the saccharin, the N95 was useless. So you had to change your size or whatever. You didn't pass, and if you couldn't wear an N95 without stuff going in, you couldn't go into isolation rooms. So this is the thing, because tuberculosis goes right through. All of these things go right through any kind of plain surgical mask, any kind of cloth, any kind of mask that you get at the hardware store. Nothing is not going is being stopped from that. So this cloth mask business is a load of hog shit as far as I'm concerned.
Is that the technical? Is that the medical term?
Yes, load of hog shititis. It's a lot of bullshit, and there are two sides to that. When people are afraid, their nervous systems, their sympathetic nervous system gets heightened, so their immune system function goes down. So if a mask on your face is going to allow your parasympathetic to come online and let your immune system come online, I'm all about it. However, the longer you keep that mask on and you keep breathing into it and it gets moist, it's a haven for other things besides bacteria to grow in. And once you start breathing that stuff and you're giving your immune system something else to fight, which makes you more susceptible to viruses and everything else. So just be mindful of this. N95 particulate respirators have a shelf life, and they also have a usage life. When you put them on over an hour, useless. Surgical mask, you put them on over an hour, useless. These things have to be changed out. And this is the stuff that people are not being educated on. As far as viruses are concerned, good luck with preventing viruses from getting in through a mask. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, not nonsense. It's great for blocking splashing onto your face, which can get you more of an exposure to viruses and that type of stuff. But the overall situation, if you're going to be distancing from people, you don't need a mask. It's just not a thing that I believe is necessary or useful. It's just making people scared, and it's also stopping us from being able to see each other. When you can't see each other, when you can't see a whole face on a human being, there are differences in the hormones we generate, and there's differences in trust levels in what we generate. And so that also can cause your sympathetic nervous system to go up if you don't trust people, which downregulates your immune system, which makes you more susceptible to shit. So these are the things that are not being considered. It's like when you're looking at a TV screen, you perceive that there's a person here, but your body doesn't perceive that there's an actual human being. Your body knows that it's a computer. So when you look and you only see the eyes on a person, it doesn't register as a complete trustable organism in front of you. You don't know if they're smiling, because since we are children, we learn to detect smiling or
social cues,
all of these different things from how we move. So this can also put a person in a space where their nervous system changes, their immune system changes, the stuff that we secrete changes. And if you're around people like this all the time, it changes the dynamic. So that's my vantage point on masks. I can go, like I said, if you want to go on with this shit for hours, we can talk about it for a long time. But that's my stance on it.
Yeah. And at some point you have to talk about health as a holistic thing. You can't just talk about viruses or masks. You have to see it as okay, so someone's wearing masks or everyone's wearing masks. That does something psychologically, physiologically. It does something for our mental health when we can't touch each other. And social isolation is literally what they do at prisons to the worst prisoners as a form of torture, because we know how damaging that is for us. However, somehow that's all great now, and people are fighting for more isolation, and they're fighting so that kids can't ever play with each other again, or play sports, or do yoga, or go outside and play t-ball. Are you kidding me?
Man, listen, the whole idea of wearing a mask is solidarity is ridiculous to me. I mean, just, oh yeah, put a mask on and show your solidarity.
No, if we're going to talk about solidarity, then cut out your tongue, cut off a limb, because there's other people. If we're going to stand in solidarity, then let's freaking go there. And this is part of, I think, what is, when, like you're saying, when you look at the totality of the human organism and what happens, we haven't even seen the wave of depression yet. And even though websites and like my psychiatrist friends, they're having 400% increases that they can't even fulfill.
Right.
And people, our suicide rates are going up, and the wave hasn't hit yet. So if you look at any financial crisis, it takes 7 to 9 months for us to really start to see the numbers ramp up. That's when we get chronic depression and anxiety disorders because people have been in a heightened state for such an extended period of time and probably not eating very good and probably drinking and probably smoking more cigarettes, destroying their microbiome. And so getting them back on board is not an easy thing.
Not at all.
That brings their immune system down. They're more susceptible to every strain of the flu, to every cold, to pneumonia, to all of these things. And I had an oncologist friends. People are not coming in for cancer screenings and treatment. Why? They're afraid of getting COVID. Yeah. We're going to have more cases of people being stage 4 because they 7, 8, 9 months go by that they're not going to the doctor. So like you're talking about, we can't even intellectually grasp the gravity of and the impact that this has created. And it will absolutely 10 times, if not more, the lives we will lose from this virus strain.
Yeah, from the secondary effects of it, right? So I read something that, and it doesn't really matter exactly what the numbers are, but for each 1% increase in the unemployment numbers, thousands of people die of all these secondary things, like you mentioned. Drinking yourself to death slowly or more acutely, and everything in between, getting diseases. It's hard to have exact numbers for these things, but last I saw, unemployment is at 40%. And if half of the people are not working, basically, having been, in music and an artist for a long time, you go through ups and downs, and the downs are, like you mentioned, psychologically very damaging, and it takes you a while to dig out of it, a long while to dig out of it. So it takes a while to hit, then it lasts a while, it takes you a while to get out of it. So I totally agree. We're at the beginning of this thing, and we, like, the way that I feel is all the politicians dropped the baby on its head. They couldn't have failed harder or lied to us more or have been more clowns in this entire situation. I've been looking for some politician who's a hero, who's not controlled opposition, and I haven't found one yet. And I'm not waiting for a savior, So I think it's important that we recognize that we are in a very dangerous situation right now. And it's up to us as communities and people to build our way out of it. And we cannot wait for any external solution to this.
The savior complex is a very big thing of people looking for a messiah. They're looking for someone to save them. They're looking for a mask to save them. And, it's such an interesting narrative, because having so many people say, well, I'm wearing a mask to protect you. And it's like, actually, until we take radical self-responsibility to keep ourselves out of the hospital, if we had a healthcare system that was actually for people that need it, versus we already know what kills most people is preventable diseases, preventable. So, at what point has someone given consent to not want to live long, and by whatever means? And I know that can be a really hard thing to swallow as far as a truth. But if you fast forward forward's forward, rewind is backwards. If you rewind to 12, 13 years ago, when I was 50 pounds overweight with hypothyroidism and endometriosis and had an ovarian torsion and fibromyalgia, did I say that? I always forget. Arthritis in my knee, scoliosis in my back. I had all these broken bones. He's heard the list once or twice the last 7 years. And at one point, I realized no one was going to save me. No shot of cortisol, no steroids, no medications. And on paper, even once I got to where I was normal for sick people. I was in the average range of sick people who don't feel good. And yet I couldn't walk for 3 hours, And so it's like, until we take radical responsibility for ourselves, our children, if you do care for other people, what they eat in their diet matters exponentially as it relates to inflammation and the blood-brain barriers, and that feed things like MS and autoimmune responses. Most people don't know how deeply stress and diet impact autoimmune conditions. And that's not getting into childhood trauma and other things that literally change your genetic makeup, or at least the expression of your genes. And so unless you're talking to a doctor that's looking at all of that, they're not looking at the picture. They're looking at one symptomatology that they can see. And it's like taking my car to a friend and being like, do you know what's wrong with it? And they're like, well, the tires aren't flat. What does it sound like? It's got a clicking sound. Oh, maybe it's the transmission. They don't know. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's someone that's a specialized car or, well, you get the idea. I'm not going to go deeper into it.
Let's all take a breath together.
Yeah, this is a good moment. We deserve it.
Listen,
all
man.
day, every day. And this crisis has brought an opportunity, because this is all things with what you do, with what we do, people like Keith and Michelle Norris from Paleo Effects and a lot of other organizations that have been teaching, really looking at the whole organism of health, the environment, diet, stress, all of that, because until we do, we're shooting blanks from the guns at a villain we can't see. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of energy to make people feel safe, but it's a false sense of security because it's an invisible villain. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yep.
And so people really, the mask makes them feel safe, which if you understand sales at all, if anyone reads about sales, you know, the number one thing you do first with copy is what's keeping them up at night. Can I solve that issue? Not, is that what they really need? There's a difference. Will they feel better if I give them an outcome? So that to me is what we've been sold, is like, initially they said, don't wear masks, it doesn't work. Then they were like, well, if I was a salesperson, which I've been 1 or 2 billion times at this point, a mask will make people feel more secure.
Mm-hmm. And not feel more secure. So you're supposed to wear a mask, not wear a mask, say words, not say words, go outside, don't go outside. And this is a very dangerous example of what it's definitely happened all around us. There's no doubt about it. And anyone who is like, once again, attacking other people right now for talking about freedom and things like that, you need to go and read some novels from high school again. As much as reading sucks and you don't want to do it anymore, it's like, go read 1984, go read Brave New World, go read Fourth Turning, and then we can have a conversation about this again, because it'll be a different conversation than the one that CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and all the other crap that you have no other option than to see online and in the TV mainstream world. So what happened was, the way that I see it, around like 2016, 2017, 2018, they buried all of us independent creators who built these platforms with our own followers. And then they sold out to all these mainstream sources that just fill us with misinformation. And so people were built and accustomed to the idea that if you have a phone in your pocket and you have a connection to the internet, you're the smartest person in the world because you have all the information in the world. You also have all the bullshit in the world. And you are being controlled and manipulated by powers that are so much more powerful than anyone realizes, because they're watching us with satellites, through this camera, through the smart fridges, through anything that's smart. We really have to watch out for this, because if people think that there isn't money in watching your children and surveilling them for their entire lives and harvesting that data and selling it and manipulating them, you've got something coming, because you are being manipulated right now. Your grandparents, your children, all of us are in this soup, and we did not vote for this. And these things make a lot of money, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, we are all brainwashed. Who is doing your laundry? Are you doing it yourself, or is somebody else washing it for you? And this is what we talk about all the time, bro. It's this. People are being fed this pipe dream of freedom, and it's just bullshit. And we work in a realm where we show people how to be empowered in themselves. And when we are a collective of empowered individuals, nothing can stop us. Nothing can put us down. There will be no poverty. There will be none of this nonsense. But the idea that you are empowered by government is bullshit. The idea that you are empowered by a corporation is bullshit. The idea that you are empowered by a church or whatever else is bullshit. And people can disagree, and that's cool. We can talk about this. We can talk about this. I can tell you how it affects your physiology to the point where you are disempowered. we are only as empowered as we are aware. And when we start to share our awareness with one another, that's when things start to change. But we have to be aware that we can be aware in the first place. And that's where the tricky stuff is. We're being fed these ideas that the government's going to come protect us, that these politicians, anybody with a suit on, forget it, bro. I'm going to ask a whole lot of questions, because suits, white collars, stethoscopes, lab coats. I want to know where you came from and all of that stuff, because I need to know. It's this: don't ask questions. Take everything on at face value, and then just shut up and sit down, and we'll save you, which is bullshit. And then you end up in the hospital, coming to see me in the ER because your body is stressed out and busted because you've been following all this stuff that we've been cajoled into for thousands of years. It's interesting to observe this stuff. So interesting. I'm gonna step off my soapbox.
It's all fear. But it's all fear.
100%.
Yes.
And they're trying to make us take action and not take action. 100% based not on information, not on data, but on fear and fear mongering. And there's no way that anyone can debate that.
Fear is a very interesting space. And so what Cole and I have been doing, we've been kind of showing people how emotions work, and emotions are signals, and fear is a signal. And fear has gotten a really, really bad rap in our world. And fear is a bad thing to have. No, fear is a great thing to have. Fear, and for those of you who are listening, just really pay attention to this for a second. And you can take this perspective and run with it, or you can leave it. It's fine. It doesn't make a difference to me one way or the other. I'm using it this way. Fear is a signal, and fear tells you that something dramatic is about to happen or may happen. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference if it's good dramatic or bad dramatic. It is dramatic. If you're getting married, something dramatic is happening. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Why are you scared? Right? Because a big change is about to happen in my life. If you're going to fall down some steps, if somebody's pushing you at the end of the steps, something dramatic is going to happen when you leave that top step. So fear is a great signal to show you that something may be pending. What they're doing is they're keeping us in the fear space and not letting us come out of it. Right. So there's this indecisiveness because there's always something pending. This dramatic change is pending. So you're always scared. So you're always in the fear space. And when you're in the fear space, it looks just like this. You're doing this, and then your body's doing this, your psyche's doing this, and your body doesn't know how to lead into something and then be at ease. So fear leads you to ease. It actually shows you that ease is on the other side of something. Lean away from something or lean into something. What are you going to do? And then you can make a conscious decision on it. But the way the media has us, the way the corporations have us, the way the governments and religions have us, it keeps us wrangled right in the middle, in the center of fear, and it keeps us locked in there. And anyone who has studied emotions know that emotions don't last more than 90 seconds to 2 minutes tops at their peak. And so if you are in a fear space 24 hours a day, what is that doing to your organism? It's destroying it. It's causing you to produce epinephrine, norepinephrine, ridiculous amounts of cortisol that don't need to be in your body for that long. All of these hormones are necessary for you to live and not necessary to be in your body all that time. They're in your body during the fear space. After the fear space is over, you normalize. And this is where things become problematic, is we are kept in a fear space. Oh, well, if you don't have this product, this is what's going to happen. So you got to work. So you go to work until you can get enough money, and then you get this product, and then something else is a problem.
And make sure you're paying for retirement and because you're going to need it.
You're going to need it because you're going to get broken. You're going to get broken. You're going to be lonely. You're going to be alone. Nobody's going to take care of you. So go for your retirement. So you live in this perpetual state of this dramatic change that may be happening, which is bullshit. 99.9% of the things that we fear never come to pass. Never. So I hope that perspective opens things up for the people who are listening. And I hope I really wanted you able to see where I come from with that fear space. And I do agree that it is fear mongering. And when you monger something, you put it down on people and you keep them in that space. And so once we understand how the fear device works, we can use fear to our benefit and ride the signal, move through it, and get to the other side, not stay in it, not sit in it. When you sit in it, it is detrimental to your organism. It is very, very, it's something that I, as a nurse in the ER, watching people perpetual fear all the time. Don't tell my husband this. Don't tell my wife that. Oh, my mother better not find out. All of these things, and people stay in that space, and it destroys their bodies. So yeah, man, I'm with you. It is fear mongering, and thanks for taking a break in what you were saying to really, so I could throw that in there and give you some vantage point on where I'm coming from with it.
Yeah, man, it's a great point, because fear isn't bad. It's a totally natural thing that we have to feel and process and go through and deal with, and we learn from it. It's very educational, unless we're in it all the time. It's like breathing in and just holding your breath. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn from that. You're going to pass out. And that's where people are. They're about to pass out. And so, yeah, definitely so. Fear is something that you want to be careful with, but like take it head on in a lot of ways. I'm very thankful that life has been challenging, and that I've been fearful before, and that I am right now. But you have to ask yourself, are you acting out of love or fear? Is this action that you're taking or not taking out of fear or love? And are the people who you're following and listening to, are they acting to give you fear, to control you? Or are they acting out of love on your behalf? Because if you take a step back and you just like kind of see the world that way for a minute, it's not 100% accurate, but you're going to learn something, and you're going to identify some cool people. You're going to get rid of some other people who are controlling you, because it's, you can manipulate people through fear all day, but you can't really manipulate people through real love. And we all know what that actually is,
Yeah, love is easy, man. Love is easy. And these ideas that people talk about, love is a lot of work, and that's bullshit. Love is easy. It's the easiest place in the world, because you are just allowing yourself to be, and the people around you to be, the trees and the butterflies, all that is just chilling, right?
Yeah.
Love is easy, man. You don't have to work for love. The idea that you have to work for love is, again, manipulating the fear space, because love might be gone. So you have to do this, and you have to be nice, and you have to bring flowers, and all of that is more nonsense. Love is really, really easy, man. And that is the space that people, when we perform from a space of love, everybody's chilling, man. The hippies really got it in the 60s, bro. Everybody, free love, man. Free love. Everybody be easy. And we are not being easy on our planet right now. We're being very, very, very tense and challenging with each other. And I think that when we open up into a space of being easy with each other, everybody's nervous system comes down, immune system goes up. We start sharing with each other. We start hugging and loving each other. Everything starts to be easy. But we've been so conditioned and brainwashed into deficit. The mindset of deficit causes fear to come up, because what if I don't? What if I don't? It keeps you in the fear space. And when you're in the fear space, your adrenaline goes up, norepinephrine goes up, your cortisol goes up. All of the yucky stuff starts to happen in your body, because these hormones that are supposed to be there temporarily are there for long periods of time, and it starts to eat into everything, and we get disease and we fall apart, and then you have to come see me and Abel and Cole.
We were saying with this whole situation, we're not going to be out of a job anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
So there's that.
Yeah. It's
so
true.
I would like to swing it back a bit more to censorship because as we're sharing all this information, this doesn't take a, some like really advanced physician to understand conceptually, and yet very few physicians understand half of what we just described, because from a health level, it's not their job. It's not their job. So there are amazing physicians that step way out of what their scope of practice has been identified as. And I deeply honor and am so grateful for all the physicians we have as clients and as friends that do that. However, it's not all that, doctors are doing this bad thing. They're doing their job, right? So from our perspective, from your perspective, what are some of the actions you're taking when you've got this audience that at times aren't even able to get this information because it is being pulled or it's being, pushed down Google's algorithms? Google it was in October or November, sent out to everyone that said, by the way, if you talk about biohacking or, use these keywords, we are not going to let you do ads, and we're going to push you further, out into the ether of Google. And biohacking is a very common terminology that I don't know how many people even know that right now, if you even use that word, you could get yourself completely outed as far as any medical research, when that's a common hashtag and it's a common field.
Yeah. And it's very dangerous when we're not allowed to use words. And I could say at least a dozen right now that we have been censored for, banned for, where my posts just disappear. I can't upload a video, or like I said, we all get attacked. But I think one thing that's happening by these big tech platforms, and that's dangerous enough, but even more dangerous in some ways are the brainwashed attack dogs who are out there. Many of them bots, by the way, not real people at all, but some of them actually just real people who are being divided on social media, because that's what it's training you to do. And then flaming me and my account for using words like freedom or talking about history when fascism was a thing like it is now, and bringing up other things that are, totally related to health, like injecting yourself with science juice and not having any sovereignty or choice about what is or isn't in your bloodstream for you or your children. Like, we should probably, as health people, be able to at least discuss that, except we can't. And so we're being prohibited from using some words and penalized for ever using other words, while these attack dogs who are brainwashed are attacking us and saying, Abel, you can't use that word. Oh, and you can't say this. And I'm going to unsubscribe and unfollow you because I only follow you for positive stuff. And if you're not 100% positive all the time, then I just, or if you say one thing I disagree with, I'm gone forever. I've been following you for 6 years and I disagree with this one thing, I'm gone. I've gotten that a surprising amount of times in the past few weeks, even for just bringing up the fact that I've been censored and shadow banned and attacked, and worse, but I won't even bring that up. But meanwhile, people are somehow thinking that they're doing a virtuous thing when they're attacking the people who are already being attacked by these giant technocrats and billionaires who have more money and power than they know what to do with, and also no clue about health. Yet you see these billionaires all over the news and all over the internet. They're not being censored, interestingly enough. And all of their agendas around health or feeding you industrial, vegan, GMO, bleeding fake meats instead of actual meats, while they mysteriously our entire meat production system and food system is destroyed on purpose from the top down due to government restrictions. This is really ugly, and it's happening all around us. And by the way, I didn't vote for any of that, and I never will. I never will. And at some point, and I think it's now, some of these politicians are getting very nervous because they realize that despite all of this censorship and keeping people in the dark and misleading them and telling them lies over and over and over and over and over again, that we will never trust them again, that thinking people will look at politicians and laugh because it's a circus and they're a joke and they're actors. And many of the people who are pretending to be in health and all these experts, look at their data, look at what they said, look at their record, and they're clowns. They are clowns. So anyway, in football, if a dude fumbles the ball, you don't give him the ball back. And if you're a politician and you drop a baby on its head, you don't get the baby back either. And that's where we are. That's how I see it. The problem is brainwashing works through repetition, and brainwashing works through trauma. And we are all being traumatized and terrorized by the power systems that were put there by the founding fathers to serve and protect us. So the politicians work for us, and there are good politicians, right? There are bad doctors, good politicians, bad. I don't want to overgeneralize, but any politician who is listening, or this ever gets to, and anyone who's listening, please say this to your politician. Serve us, the people, or step down now. And if you have not served the people in the past, you are going to have to be accountable for that. And I hope you go to prison. I think there are many crimes that have been committed against people in health, and I know that for a fact because I've talked to many. The more people I talk to who are creators, podcasters, writers, and all these other things, the more mysterious things that have happened all around their lives and to their businesses and all the rest of it. And so the way that I see it is we will make it through this. I think there are many reasons to be optimistic, but none of them come from the top down. None of them come from a globalist world government. Why would we want to be like China you have to ask yourself, right?
I had this conversation today. They're like, look what China did. I was like, do you actually know how China works? Do you know like anything about Hong Kong and Shanghai and some of the cities within China? Do you know what they've got? Well, Hong Kong in particular.
Yeah, especially now.
When you look at the regimes in China, like when people say that to me, it only speaks to the fact that they've never traveled there. They know nothing about culturally, politically, what's been going on there. And which is why when we approach people for conversation, I ask more questions to see what information they've consumed so that I have some framework of what I'm going to be dealing with as far as rationality, because everyone believes the research they've done is the right research and it's the credible one. And because they read, Melinda Gates' book, that they know her and, whatever. True story.
She's a health expert, right? I'm not. I'm a quack. But Melinda, she's a genius of health. And so is Bill, by the way, who couldn't keep viruses off his fucking computer.
Right.
Listen, man, certainty is an issue. Certainty is the downfall of all existence. When we are certain about things, that's when we start to become, when things become problematic. And I don't use that word problem very lightly. Things become very problematic when we are certain. And there's a lot of mixed certainty going on and a lot of people looking for certainty. And you will never find certainty. And as long as our sciences are driven by certainty, our mainstream sciences are driven by certainty, we will not get anywhere. As long as our politics drives people to believe that they can be certain about life, we're going to get this type of stuff. People are certain about stuff. And, I can tell you a story and you can go, Ta said this, so this is the law. And then, Jesus Christ said this and that's the law. And then, this person said this. And then all of these different certainties mix up and they cause they bump heads with each other. And there's a lot of issues. We are not asking enough questions. The only thing that I have mastery over, and I don't even have mastery over it, I have the closest relation to, is my perspective. And my perspective can change in an instant. It can change in an instant. My idea of things, my truths can change in an instant. There is no absolute truth. Certainty is going to keep us in a space where we are destructive. When you look at people like Hitler was very certain, right? Look what Hitler did. Napoleon was very certain. Right. Look what they did. Look at what happened in Rwanda. Right. Very certain. They told these people that these other tribes they're
going to kill you.
No, they told them they were shit.
Yeah.
They told the other tribes that they were shit. And they went and killed everybody.
Yeah.
And these when people are certain, that's when things start to happen in very detrimental fashions. If people don't wear masks, they're going to kill us, so we have to kill them. Certainty, man. These things are issues. They're problematic on political, religious, industrial, all of these different levels, man. When people start having certainty about things, listen, as a health professional, I was told that fat was the devil, man, like Satan, like fat's going to kill you. It's coming to your house to get you.
Don't have that butter.
To tell people, don't eat fat. I don't care what kind of fat it is. Don't eat fat. And that's all I was taught. And so now I know differently. So my truth has changed, and I will not preach anything with certainty like that, because how many people have I done harm to by telling them shit that I was certain about because somebody else told me I should be certain about it. So everything is, who told you that? Where did you get those ideas from? Where is it coming from? And do you believe it? Do you have a basis for it? Can you show me so that we can talk about it and discuss it? Because when you start to ask people questions, they can't unask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, have you considered this? Not, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, hey, thanks for sharing. Do you know where that came from? Because I'd be interested to know. Oh, well, and it causes them to ask themselves a question. So Cole and I, that's what we do. We ask questions. Everything is questions, because questions remove certainty. And no matter if a person says it or not, they still have the question in their head.
Once the consideration is now there. The
consideration is there. Mm-hmm. And cognitive dissonance or not, you've asked yourself the question. And the more questions you've been asked, you ask yourself, that cognitive dissonance is going to get beat up and it's going to dissolve eventually. We have to be patient with each other. And this is where certainty, impatience is for people who are certain, man. We've got to be patient with each other. So again, off the soapbox.
Yeah, for sure. There are fundamental truths, and you need to get an education. If we're talking about, fitness and health, for example, and nutrition, they're fundamental truths, and you need that education. You have to get past the misinformation. You have to get past whatever worldview you thought were the government recommendations were right, and you followed those, and the fitness magazines and your running coach or whatever, your basketball coach, that they were right, and but no, you have to, if you're going to survive this, you have to realize that science doesn't know everything. It
doesn't
all the time.
It doesn't. A scientist that I like is a scientist that says, I know nothing. I'm looking to find out. And then once I know this, show me something else, because I'm uncovering that. That's what science is. Science is a process of uncovering stuff.
And that's not my computer says this and my computer's right, which is how science is working now, and how this whole, how the numbers have been delivered. They're just like, my computer says 2 million, and here's Bill Gates, and he makes computers and is a health expert. It's like, what? Take a step back. What I need to see more of is thinking, really. You know what I mean? It's like everyone needs to take a step back and stop getting information or misinformation, because it's a combination of both. Take a step back. Ask yourself, what is happening here? And where do we want to go? What kind of future do we want for our children? I just released an episode last week with Eliza Kingsford, and she specializes in mental health. And she shared something extremely profound from her daughter, who said that, Mom, I feel like life is skipping me by, because she can't play with her friends, and she can't go to her little, elementary school birthday parties and graduations. And it made me think, man, my senior year in high school was so busy, and I did a musical. I was on the bike racing team, and if I didn't get to do any of those things that I was doing then, the studying, the hanging out with teachers, the jamming with all the people I was in the band with, I don't think I'd be doing this now. I would not be the same person if I was robbed of all those experiences, especially. Okay, so this has already happened to them, but now people are saying, oh, this is going to happen until 2021 or 2024 or 2030 or whatever, the kids will be fine. No, they won't. Not if half the people won't. And they're already being, like, I graduated high school around the time of 9/11, and I was traumatized. And so, and you guys as well, we're all around that same age where that does something to you forever. And this is doing something to our children forever. And as much as we need to be protecting the vulnerable, which we absolutely should, in nursing homes, the immunocompromised, and everyone else, we should be protecting them from viruses. We should also be protecting our children from mental health damage in the future. That's definitely happening right now. And there's tons of science to prove it in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, that genetic expression gets immediately impacted from trauma. Like you were saying, trauma and then repetition is what creates habits. So first we have the initial impact. And a simple example is, think about a time you got in a fender bender, right? No one's hurt. So you're like, oh, now I'm late. You jump back in your car, you carry on with your day. And then the next time you hear tires screech, you feel your whole body jack back up. Yeah. Your adrenaline's pumping. Why? You now have a trauma cycle that has been hardwired into your physiology of screeching tires. That's a threat. And we have so many, like thousands of ways that things imprint, because as humans that started so that if we saw a snake and heard a rattle, we knew that was danger. So what we're seeing with masks, with censorship, with, hey, you're not allowed to say that. I won't stand here and let you say that. What we are diminishing is we are taking away people's voices. We are putting a mask on. How many people are you seeing that are conversing because they have a mask on? That is a somatic experience that creates a habit of not communicating. And I'm going to call it right now. We're going to see a huge increase in issues around this area of the body. Teeth, like deeper teeth issues, back of the throat. And I won't be surprised if there's a rise in cancer, so specifically in this area of the body, for multiple reasons. But we're also not considering the fabrics we're throwing up on our face for 8 hours a day for people that are working. Like, when you look at all of this noise and all of this information and just start with starting to understand the system that is your body, the system that as you change your diet, understand the function of the gut, understand the function of nutrition, you can think clearer. Holy shit, who knew? You have more energy. You will contribute at higher levels more expansively because you started in this container right here. Because I assure anyone listening right now, when you change your body, you change your entire community, because you can show up differently. You have more patience, you have more consideration, you have more clarity and cognition. So my invitation is, anyone listening right now, shut off all of the information for 30 days and just dive into learning about inflammation and gut health for 30 days. Implement a few things, journal about it, and tell me that your entire experience of this world doesn't change, even if the world and the information being released has not. There's not even, I can only speak from my own personal experience that after 45 days of completely changing my diet, I lost 28 pounds. This is when I had 50 pounds to lose, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, my inflammation, it looked like I lost 50. Like the inflammation was gone. And in that moment, I said, oh, there's really something to this diet thing and what you put in your body and what you consume. Yeah. I was having the standard American diet, which was fast food, alcohol, sleeping pills to go to sleep, energy drinks to wake up. No wonder I was acting in fear. I was creating the perfect proliferation environment for viruses and illnesses.
That reminds me, as a non sequitur, the last time that I went to Denny's was with you in LA. And I had a grand sandwich. That was like the last time I think I had processed food. And I remember feeling so sick that I almost pulled the trigger because I was just feeling so rotten. Yeah. It was destroying. I don't know if you remember that, but that was literally, I do remember, last time that I ever ate anything that was like that.
Yeah, that would have been like fall 2011, like December 2000, or like November. That was a long time ago.
Wow, 19 years ago.
Oh, the thing is, once you get, it's like anything, you don't know how badly this is making your body feel until you don't, and then you try it, and your body's like, what? What? You refuse
like
to
do sandwich. It looked like a sandwich. It's not a sandwich, man. It's not a
it's
sandwich.
Not a sandwich.
Everyone at NAMM and that music conference had no other options. Like, you got Denny. So if you live in America, this will be interesting as we come out of this, because from what I hear, more than half of the restaurants will not reopen.
We're not going to survive.
Heartbreaking, you know.
It is.
Those are our people, and so are gyms and all the rest of it. But I wonder if the Denny's and the McDonald's and the Burger Kings will all stay open and all the mom and pop shops will stay closed. Because if that happens, that will not stand. I will never get a grand sandwich again. I will never go to Denny's again. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to work.
Oh no, we'll fast, because we'll go through areas of the country that are deserts as far as food. Yeah. Like when we fly, we take food, because 99% of the food, unless it's just fruit at airports, is processed, even if it's supposed to be healthy. You know, it's just got other ways of putting shit in it, you know, unless there's 4 ingredients or less and I can pronounce it all, I'm not getting anything at the airport, because that's what I've learned from my experience. And it doesn't mean I won't sit and enjoy a glass of wine. It's trusting that my system now, I'm so attuned to it. I know if something was made with stevia extract or with another type of sugar, because my body doesn't like stevia extract specifically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, now I know what sugar headaches feel like. I know what dehydration headaches feel like. Those are the cues from my body. Your body's always giving you messages. And all of this external noise is a representation of the internal noise people are experiencing.
Yeah. But we can turn that down. We just forget.
Yes.
We forget. And I don't know. It's like this weird thing where, like, it took me turning right around when I turned 30, I broke my foot when I was out on a hike. It was a total bummer. But then, like, after I healed up a little bit, I'm just like, well, maybe I'll get a mountain bike and start mountain biking again. This was literally my favorite thing to do when I was a teenager for a few years. And then I don't know, I gave it up and I forgot. And then when I started riding again, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I was an 8-year-old boy. I didn't care that I had a broken foot. It was the best thing ever. But for some reason, we forget that we can take a breath whenever we want.
Whenever we want.
We can go outside. We can take that walk. We can not consume for a minute every day. And I would recommend that everyone do that as long as possible. And one thing that I think is really important that I've been trying to share, because I've been coaching a bunch of people all over the world, and it seems like we're all in a similar position. And we need to give ourselves that time to be a little bit broken and beat up and just kick back. And if you've made some mistakes or you've done some things that maybe aren't healthy and you know it, that's okay. That's fine. And it's very normal and understandable, in the same way that, being in a fear-based state is totally normal sometimes. But then you have to breathe out and experience the other side of that. And it's not your duty to be glued to the mainstream news, watching the fake numbers all day. It's just not. That's not duty. It's your duty to be as healthy, I believe, as possible. And when you see yourself in this sort of situation, you see health as a survival skill. And that's how I see it. I take it that seriously, because I'm allergic to almost every antibiotic out there. And I have been my whole life. If I get sick, I could die. It's almost happened a bunch of times. I don't want to get sick. And so anyway, what I'm trying to say is you do have to take responsibility for that. And sometimes that just means you don't have to meditate. You can just have a little bit of quiet time, or like grab a ukulele and just strum it for a while. It's totally okay. Like, even if you haven't sketched since you were 11 years old, do it, like try making a recipe, any of those things. Give yourself permission to be a little broken. Give yourself permission to experiment and grow, despite everything that's happening out of your control in the external world.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's like the perfect closing, offering for the audience. The podcast is called Mentor in the Mirror, and it really is about not just looking at the reflection that is yourself and seeing the reality that is the reflection of yourself, right? Because that's a very real, that's a hard thing to swallow sometimes. It's also the reflection of the people and what you're consuming. If you're looking to move in a certain direction with your health, with your relationships, with your business, if what you are consuming is things that are taking you further away from your goal and your vision, then where are you placing your energy? So for anyone that's listening right now, Abel, do you have another, or, just kind of like a signing off thing you would like to share to really invite them as a reflection to themselves, a question to ask themselves?
Yeah, I would challenge you. I've been doing this for many years. I would challenge you to, if you're watching, you see what I have. It's just a blank notebook. And if you're not watching, it's a blank notebook. But the point is, take that, and once you just like stare it down for a little bit, that blank page, you start to realize that, or at least I do, what you write down can come true if you want it to. It's a magical thing. Not the notebook, but the fact that you can take a step back, write whatever you want to on it, whether it's a to-do list or a brainstorm or a little sketch or whatever, and you are the creator. You are the one who is practicing intention to create a better world, because we need that. We need you. And it's not through consumption that we'll get out of this. It's by becoming a creator. And it's not like you're a singer and I'm a singer and I'm a musician and you're a dancer and you're a doctor and you're a healer. We are all of those things. And we need to practice those different parts of ourselves and embrace the chances to learn from each other, because we're all, special in our own ways, and we have a lot to learn from each other.
Just drop the mic, bruh.
That's some good shit right
there. Yeah,
there.
man. Drop it. Just slap it over. Gently slap it over. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for rocking with us and for being with us. Thank you for everything that you've endured in your life to get you to where you are and the things that you're doing. Thank you for all that you are doing with people. Thank you for being relentlessly you and not holding back, man. And for coming on here and chatting with us about all this stuff and still being optimistic and as overtly positive as you can possibly be, man. I think it's a beautiful thing to witness. And this is our first time really getting to interact, and I've heard nothing but awesome from her about you, and me being geeked out about your podcast and all that stuff. I've been a fan for a while, so it's great to have you on here, man. Thank you for just being you and for contributing to our audience and the audience of the world, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you've been a huge support, and really you helped me grow in probably more ways than the majority of people that have ever been in my life. And it's never, oh yes,
Bruh.
like I really like deeply on so many levels appreciate you. Oh, I might even cry. Well, you're all welcome. I'm gonna get a little washy over here, because the truth is, Abel, the compassion and kindness that you showed to me at times when we like hung out, I was still coming out of a very tough time in my life, really getting that health thing together, learning who I am, stepping out of a lot of life conditioning and constructs that also came with destructive behaviors. And I really have deep gratitude for the space that you held for me. First, like really stepping into who is Cole? Who am I? Who do I want to be? Without judgment. And that was such a deep imprint for me that there's no way I would be in the relationship that I am had I not learned what that looks like, just to be accepted. And that's something that we offer in every client, in every interaction, that I could not have even recognized had it not been modeled. That's why when we talk about community and people getting in alignment with who, they want to be, why it's so important, because we have. That's why we've relocated. That's why I'm back in Austin. Shit, I left once. I'm back. Hey, it's because I had to go find him. He was in New York City.
So worth it. I can tell. I can tell. It's the real thing.
Hey, thanks, bro. I mean, seriously, she speaks so highly of you all the time, and your name comes up at least weekly, man. Thank you for all that you are, and thanks for what you've contributed to my life by, inspiring this woman. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, thanks to you both. I have a little tear going right now. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so with that, can you tell people where to find you?
Yes. Probably easiest way is go to fatburningman.com or look for Fat Burning Man, the name of my podcast, or Abel James. And my new book is called Designer Babies Still Get Scabies. That's at designerbabiesbook.com. But I'm not, if you dig hard enough, I'm not too hard to find.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Thank you all for listening and watching. We know you love this, so please rate, review, subscribe,
share it with a friend. These are the conversations we need to keep going. And if you're listening on the podcast, you can text Optimize to 22999. Coming here in about 2 weeks, we're going to start doing meetings for people that want to have these conversations where we don't have the risk of being shut down. So we can really highlight these kinds of conversations. So again, text Optimize with a Z to 22999. And let's talk about the systems and structures that are necessary, right? This is an opportunity. The billionaires and the millionaires are seeing the opportunity for big pharma. There's other opportunity to create new systems for health, sustainability, and like wellness. So that's what we're in for the conversation for. Again, thank you so much, Abel, for everything you contribute to the world. And I've loved watching you and Alyson create this beautiful business together. And I can't wait to see you both and hug you in person, unmasked.
I'm all about the hugs, man.
Yes, it's time.
All about it, baby. I'm all about it, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Get your ribs ready, bro.
Get your ribs ready.
Texas soon.
All right, get them ready, man.
All right, until next time, thank you everyone for listening. As always, we love you so endlessly and completely. My name is Cole. We are Taco. This is Mentor in the Mirror podcast. Be free.